to mankind, we're rising once more. The android is coming to settle the score. They are coming for you, we are coming for them. We're the AXI and we're here to defend.
As the jump drive hums, we're heading out, hear the battle drums. Carrier drops in these war-torn grounds. The sky is filled with a deafening sound. Loadouts checked, our nerves are tight. It's chaos out there, but we're ready to fight. Outnumbered, outgunned, our ships torn asunder. Canopy smashed, but we won't go under. They're too many and we're too few. Is this fight too much for us to break through? Swarm comes to play, he overwhelmed, systems start to fail. They're closing in fast, their strength prevails. Too many to count, and far too strong. This might be the end, we may not have long. Outnumbered, outgunned, our ships torn asunder. Canopy smashed, but we won't go under. There are too many and we're too few. Is this fight too much for us to break through? With a fire, a light breaks through. We look to each other, we know what to do. Training kicks in, we form our ranks. Together we stand, there's no turning back. Outnumbered, outgunned, our ships torn asunder. Canopy smashed, but we won't go under. There are too many and we're too few. Is this fight too much for us to break through?
Greetings, Commanders, and glory to mankind. Doing an audio check. Let me know if you can hear me fine. I've been having some microphone problems on recent streams. Let's see if we can also put the music volume of the stream up for now to see if we can hear the music fine. So we get that checked out. Mic is crackling. Alright, we'll fix the mic. 1 second. In the meanwhile, you get the music. All right, testing the different source. Is this still crackly? Otherwise, I know how to fix it, but I want to see if I can get this working before I switch to the other option. It's better now? Not crackly anymore?
Hello, everybody.
Oh,
hello.
we got our
Hi.
friends here.
Welcome to
kicking us off.
Unlocked. This is our June edition. I am Sam, and I am joined on the couch today with the lovely Rich Hudson. Hiya, Rich.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, good, good, good. Do you want to give X at Home a little bit of an intro?
Sure,
Who you
hello.
are?
My name's Rich. I am a video artist here at Frontier, so I'm part of the team that works on a lot of the trailers and screenshots that you might have seen in the past, and some of which you're going to see today. You might have seen me lurking around on Unlocked in the past, first time as a non-speaking protagonist a few months ago. That was fun, and you'll see a lot of my work coming up today.
Antics trailers are better. They should hire Antics.
Yes, So for some of our eagle-eyed and eagle-eared listeners, you guys will remember that we've often mentioned Rich Hudson and the parks that he's been putting together for the demos that we'll be doing for Planet Coaster 2. So yeah, we're going to be seeing more of that later on, and he's going to be helping me go through the show today because we have got loads to get through today, Rich. We are absolutely stacked. But firstly, we're going to be saying hello to the chat. Hello, everybody at home. How are you guys doing? I think we saw somebody was in there at 3
Somebody's
3
here at
a.m.?
3 a.m.
Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. That's amazing. It's lovely to see you there. But yeah, hello, everybody.
We're going to listen to the welcome. And as they switch to Planet Coaster, we're going to switch back to AX/Elite content.
Hurricane
Overlord. Hello, everybody. Ignacio.
Welcome
hello
along,
there,
everyone.
guys. Lovely stuff. Yeah, wonderful to have you here as always. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. So yes, cool. Couple of bits of housekeeping before we get into the sections themselves. As always, we have got our Twitch drops that are going to be coming to the show today. All you need to do is watch for 20 minutes and you're going to be able to get your hands on these lovely ship kits or ship paint jobs. Lovely stuff. We have got the Crate Mark 2 on screen here, as well as the Python.
Yes, this is the Shatter Blue skin. So if you're on Twitch, twitch.tv/Frontier.
Shatter Blue, that looks like green to me.
Watch for 20 minutes and you can land one of these.
Yeah, they're absolutely stunning. Really, really beautiful. I love these ones for this month. It looks great.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, so like we were saying, we've got loads to get through today. So Rich, do you want to tell us a bit what we're looking at?
So, coming up this month, in case you've been living under a dinosaur-shaped rock for the last couple of weeks, you might have heard that we announced Jurassic World Evolution 3.
Yes, finally.
Yeah,
finally.
Absolutely. And Sam caught up with 2 of the development team, and you'll hear from them very, very shortly.
While we hear
then
about dinosaurs,
we're going to swing over
I'm gonna
to
like
Planet
fix
Coaster
some
2,
of the
as our favourites Rich and Adam will be back on the sofa to talk more about
here.
Update 6 that we heard about a little bit last month. Planet Zoo fans, it's DLC Day.
Yes.
Today, DLC Day if you're playing on PC.
Very exciting.
So we're going to see some more information about
Jump off
that.
some of the stuff
And of
at the
course,
bottom.
Commanders, it's a very, very exciting day because you're going to hear a bit more about the Panther Clipper Mark II, because our very own Zach will be joining Curtis and Chris to give you a bit more
fix
information
that.
on the ship, as well as its release date.
Very
Yes.
exciting.
Right.
And we have a
Very
giveaway
State,
for
but
you.
everybody we want to know is
So stay
its
tuned
cargo
for that.
capacity.
Yeah, loads coming up, and yeah, do stay tuned for the giveaway as we'll be picking that up.
Yeah, I can certainly enlarge the screen.
Awesome.
I was
But yes,
planning to do
start
it
the show
when
off with, it is incredibly exciting for us to finally be able to start
when they're actually talking about
Jurassic
Elite.
World
Oh, this is
Evolution
something
3.
that we will
So at the
enlarge.
start of June, we were able to finally
put in front
announce
of me
the
too,
game to the
like,
world. We saw
possibly,
our
if I
announced
figure out how to
gameplay
do it.
trailer going out, and today I managed to catch up with some of our devs to go through the features that you guys would have started to see
this
in those
should
trailers
be
as
it.
well. So yeah, we're going to be picking that up now and cutting to
But
that.
in the meanwhile,
Check
since
this
we're
out
going to be
after our
talking
gameplay
about
trailer.
dinosaurs and theme packs. Oh gosh, this is also too loud. All right, we're gonna cut the volume to like a kind of meaningful number. And if suddenly they switch to Elite and start talking about Elite, for all intents and purposes, please scream in the chat. Let me know. In the meanwhile, let's go kill some Fargoids and chat about Elite, because that's what we're here for, right? Otherwise, you'd be on Twitch looking at the dinosaurs. Yes, live streams don't have a skip forward. So again, let's have a skip to some kind of non-human signal source of some kind. I'm going too fast. Slow down. Pause. Well, yeah, the Panther has already been revealed. I think the thing that we're going to talk about today is the release date, and hopefully we're going to say what the cargo capacity is going to be, which is the question that everybody's really asking about. And what kind of everybody kind of cares of to some degree. Let's see if we can find something worth firing at for the reasonable amount of time that we have, which would be like a basilisk or a medusa. This is 47 seconds. We're not going to get there in time. These are pretty far away at 60 clicks. Find something closer. Otherwise, we can go to one of the 60-click ones. But there's a bunch here, so we should be able to find one. This could be a basilisk. This could be a hydra, but a hydra's going to take too long. Ah, guaranteed medusa. Let's go shoot a guaranteed medusa. Planet dinosaur, yeah. No, you're welcome. I'm glad that we can get to hang out together and follow along at the same time while chatting actually about Elite for the entire hour that we have together, instead of, again, spending 75% of it talking about dinosaurs and roller coasters.
Welcome, Sandy, Andy. Hello, you guys.
Hello.
That's a good question, Anchor Will. It's, you know, it varies by person to person. I think, you know, the number of people who actually played Frontier Elite 2 and Frontier First Encounters, which are the folks that actually have flown the original Panther Mk2, if you want to call it. It wasn't called Mk1, it's called Panther Clipper, period. I don't know how many of those folks are actually still playing Elite Dangerous now about. Because, like, I know I did. I know I was definitely
It's just gone out.
in all of the original Panther Clipper and the original, or rather in the second game.
Yeah, it's
But I think I was more excited of the Panther Clipper in the second game than I am of the Panther Clipper in this game in Elite Dangerous, because in the original game, the Panther Clipper was not only the best trader in the game, but it was also the best combat vessel in the game. As in, you could put plasma accelerators in the top and bottom turret, you could stack it with like 400 shield generators, and basically you were invulnerable and you just destroy everything, you know, in 3 seconds. That is definitely not going to be the case for the Panther Clipper and Elite Dangerous, which instead is going to be mostly a trader with some combat ability based on, you know, how we're hearing things. And then, as I've mentioned in one of the polls on this channel, you guys convinced me to do a Panther Clipper versus Hydra do or die kind of session while loading up on 1,000 tons of meta alloys for a total cargo value of about 8 billion credits. So it's either I succeed or I lose 8 billion credits in the process. Thankfully you didn't vote for delete your account and start over option, because that would have been really brutal. But anyway, let's see where the poll ended in terms of the capacity of the Panther Clipper. And it sounds like people are kind of all over the place, really. Like, this is going to be an interesting one. Like, there's literally all kind of opinions, like literally everything, and then some. Like, all right, let's see. In the meanwhile, like, shoot this Medusa as we chat. Now we're gonna get a scan. We have the same fire group trigger on the scanner as we do the NPCs, which is convenient. And then when this thing turns away, we will blast it. Turn it to the back so we get a little bit more sort of advantage in starting, and off we go. We're a bit too far for the NPCs to do full damage, so we're trying to get in closer. Now pop a heatsink. Gotta get used to a second trigger control here. And the first heart is down. With 2 heat sinks, not too bad. Barely any ammo used. Well, nice Dill Armenia. Yeah, I mean, the original Panther Clipper was basically the recognition that you had won the game as far as, like, Frontier Elite 2 was concerned, as it didn't really get better than that. Frontier First Encounters had a special set of missions which kind of made things a bit more interesting, I think. But in the original Elite 2, buying a Panther Clipper was basically the U1 experience. Even though it would take a while to kind of actually get all the crew on board to be able to even undock with that ship. As in the second game, you actually had to hire crew at the port where you bought the ship before you were allowed to undock the ship. And sometimes that took actually several weeks before the right people showed up. Hey, Kithiara. Yeah, that was a while back. That was indeed a while back. Am I still at 100%? Did I not get hit at all? I think I took some hits from a swarm or something, but nothing significant, it seems. Now, the good thing about the Corsair, one of the many, many, many good things about the Corsair is that it's freaking fast. So you can kind of boost orbit the swarm effectively, certainly when you're on 3 pips like now. And that makes you speed tank effectively Interceptor.
But if I want to just maybe just get into the management.
Oh, you're welcome, Kithiara. I'm glad you like it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's also incredibly easy to use and incredibly comfortable. Right. Oh, he's saying he's under attack. Well, he is under attack.
We have to upload what they've created, both into specific building types, scenery, and some parts or parts that we've built here. Another
Note what we're calling the no fire bug. As in, because I'm moving around it very, very fast and my angular velocity is very high, the Interceptor is not shooting at me, even though I'm in range and it should be shooting at me right now, but it isn't. This was a bug that was introduced with the changes in Update 17, where the aggro mechanisms of the Interceptor were changed, primarily to deal with the fact that Interceptor were getting kind of dragged away to the middle of nowhere during anti-Xeno combat zones. But the changes they made, I think, broke more things than they fixed, and left the whole situation with Interceptor aggro in a pretty bad place and sorry state, I would say. I'm too far, I'm trying to close range. NPCs have a fall-off range of only 1 kilometer, so at 2 kilometers they basically do no damage, or at least no substantial damage. And it's down. I also had only... Oh, I forgot heat sinks. I was not paying attention. How distracted of me.
So beyond just the modular,
Even then, it took barely any damage. And we got ourselves back to... I think it was mostly heat damage, by the way. Yeah. For not paying attention. Also, I didn't have my pips properly like set. Trying to kind of pay attention to the stream and chat away. Read the chat. I don't think it will be released today. So, Joe, man, typically the way ships have been done is they announce them in a stream. They give elite partners a week to play with them and create some hype with those ships before they are released for ARX to the public. So the earliest it will be available is a week from now, but that's assuming that they're ready to roll with it, which may or may not be the case. As most of you know, I left the Elite Partner program, so I have no information with regards to what is going to be available to partners. I will be joining all of you in using the Panther Clipper when it becomes available for ARX, and doing the Hydra fight that I've mentioned us planning to do. Oh, why did I leave? Oof, that is a long story and a passionate one. I think the short answer to why did I leave is because I should never have joined in the first place. I don't make for a good candidate for the Elite Partner program. I want to have the freedom of saying what I think about topics that are potentially also controversial, without strings attached. And even though I think most people would agree that those restrictions can be seen as reasonable, considering the nature of the partner program, they are not limitations I wanted to contend with. So at some point we got into a conversation and I think we all agreed it was better for me to leave. I certainly agreed. Is anyone streaming me, streaming FDev, potentially also commenting and reacting to what I say? Now that would be a good like whole Inception kind of experience. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna make it that way because I don't think the NPC mechanic in this game has been focused on SLFs. It has not been focused on ships at all. There's no ship that requires a crew in Elite Dangerous to be able to be flown. Where is the hard down? Oh, my heat sinks are out of ammo. Now this is a problem. Alright, see if we can just take the hard down with without NPCs, because NPCs generate a lot of heat. We should be able to. Again, not paying attention today. Mechan, you're being sloppy here. Still, we've only taken heat damage, I think, so far. We should get our heat sinks back, because heat sinks are useful. Also, I have an AXZ build here, so I only have one bank, so heat sinks, which is not something you'd normally want to do in a solo build. But it is what it is. I also had not set my pips correctly, so again, sloppy Medusa fight, despite not really getting hit here. Also, I'm getting a little bit too far away for comfort. Let's use our beam to cool off, which does the trick. We're at 033, which is kind of good setup for... Alright, we got our heat sinks back, which is nice. Let's do some kiting out here. Got the walk back up. What do you think, guys? Do you think I will kill this Medusa first, or do you think Frontier will start talking about Elite first? Taking bets.
Juveniles. They look absolutely amazing.
Remind me to actually put my pips in the correct configuration before the next attack run, please. Medusa dies first, yeah. I think there's a good chance that Medusa will indeed die first. Did the stream just pause, by the way? No, it didn't. It just kind of buffered. When you ignore the swarm, they just tickle me because I'm moving very, very, very fast. So they're not really hitting me. Like, well, they did just tickle me now, but again. Also, I have not flown through the swarm, which means the swarm is not firing missiles at me. And what really hurts of the swarm is the missiles they fire, not so much the silly little green shots coming at you. Hey, Aaron. Incoming mission critical message. Now this is an interesting time to send me a mission critical message. This is probably like them wanting me to do some stupid thing, which I'm not going to do. Should we repair that 3% we lost? Might as well. I mean, we got limpets for ages. Oops, wrong button. Another good thing about the Corsair is that you can carry full limpets without the ship slowing down a single meter per second, which is really nice. Alright, let's get ready to engage. This time pips correctly set, heat sinks engaged. Try and get closer in orbit, and off to the races. Not a great range, but good enough. We're out of heat sinks, but this guy is basically dead, so we did not need to waste a heat sink for... Alright, let's go. 48%. What we got? 3 hearts, 2 hearts left. 2 hearts left? We do 4 hearts already? Wow, this is going fast. Ooh, that was too hot. Triggered caustic missiles, but it's fine that I triggered caustic missiles. I can show you that you can actually shoot them down with a fixed beam, but I also don't want to lose that interceptor, so I'm actually going to kite them instead of shooting them down because I don't want this guy to get out of range.
Again, social needs, some juveniles are happy when they're together, other ones, they need mum and dad around and they're going to get distressed if they're not. So there's a whole bunch of these social dynamics going on that make...
The thing we're anticipating is an announcement of the Panther Clipper release date and hopefully some details like cargo capacity and something like that. But we shall see.
Because they bring you loads of cash.
Is there a reason why you continue orbiting while shields are up instead of retreating and waiting? Well, I mean, I'm using the beam to accelerate to speed up the decay of a shield. That's the main reason. As to why I'm not doing it at 6 kilometers instead of like being this close up, it's just, I don't know, habit. it's probably safer to do at 6 kilometers, but I'm just so used to it that, like, whatever. It's not like it can hit me anyway, so I'm pretty chill. But yeah, you probably would want to play it a bit more safe if it's your first Medusa.
There's just a wide breadth that gets across. They all feel different. It gets across between them.
I got 2 sinks in the
The adult dinosaurs.
bank, which should be enough to kind of do another heart. Hearts get easier and easier as the fight goes on because the amount of damage you need to do to exert them goes down. You need to do 20% of the remaining hull of the interceptor to exert the heart. So, especially on tougher interceptors, the difference between the first heart and the last heart is huge. Exerting the first Hydra heart requires taking the 20% off of the hull of the interceptor. Exerting the last heart of a Hydra requires taking down 6% of an interceptor hull, which is less than a third. Huge difference. Alright, we are almost ready to re-engage. Sinks and firing. I gotta get used to having my plasma charges on my second trigger. That's usually not the case. Exerted. Ooh, I had it on the first. Got a reclose range. But not going directly at it, otherwise I'm gonna get punched in the face. That was a bad shot. And that was also unnecessary damage I took. But we're fine. Again, our goal is to finish this. No, I'm not running into any convergence issues of any kind, to be honest. I think the convergence of the Corsair is actually pretty good. Let's get our sinks back. Oh, do I have a neutralizer? I do. The good thing about having an X, oh, it malfunctioned though, but somehow it still worked. Well, that's a first. Or at least an unconventional thing. That's a good thing of running an AXZ build for a solo fight. You got an SFN on board. Normally you wouldn't want to use it. You wouldn't have to use it. But again, this was a mistake. So good thing that I had one on board. My native language is Italian. I was born and raised in Italy, but I grew up bilingual. Like I went to an English language school growing up. So for all intents and purposes, I am bilingual, Italian and English. Did they hit me, or am I still getting my sinks back? I got my sinks back. I speak reasonable conversation Spanish as well. Studied some German, but never really got into it. We got Alex MG1 here for that. Are we still talking about dinosaurs and roller coasters? I think so. Zach has not appeared, so I presume we're still talking about roller coasters. That's like one of those words. Linde, Fleische, Ticker, blah, 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 no, too long. Can't compute. No, I dipped down when I put my heatsink on, my repellent pit on, because in order to get a repellent pit on myself, I need to clear my target log. So I dip down to clear my target. I target empty space, hit the target button, and then dip back up after I put my limpet on myself to retarget the interceptor. Which, by the way, is now about to lose its shield, so we're about to dance again. we are about to dance. Let's dance, dance, dance. Last heart, which we could have pre-targeted in this case, because it is a last heart, so we knew which one it was going to be, but again, my level of cognitive load and attention I'm paying is kind of limited in this part right now. That was also a bad shot on my part. That was a better shot. Alright, now we gotta hit it with all everything we got, as they would say, a Hydra, because like it will no longer regenerate at this point in time. Alright, so you guys want to see a lightning execution? Lightning execution is a dangerous maneuver, which you should never do unless you really know what you're doing. But it's kind of pretty cool if you do know what you're doing. It's also something I'm going to get caustic missiles in my face as part of a process, but it's okay. I also got no... Whoa, I missed it, and I got caustic, but another thing I have, thanks to my AXEZ build, is caustic sink launchers. And now, like, I'm getting missiled by the swarm. I have to go silent running because I have no heat sinks left. It worked. I should synthesize like heat sinks at this point. At this point, I'm just doing something silly to end the fight, which you should not be doing. But I have the ammo, so might as well burn the ammo on the shield. This speeds up the fight a bit. Again, you gotta get a bit closer to kind of like do damage with NPCs. Once you are close, though, those NPC absolutely destroy everything, including shields. Now I'm kind of boosting away from the missiles, so I don't eat the missiles. I am faster in the missiles, which makes life easy. And now we dance again with the interceptor, which is about to die. Boom. And down the Medusa goes. Yeah, Eric, it's nice to see that they're adding things to the game, considering the game is 10-year-old. I completely agree. Alright. I think we're already full on all of these components. Go shoot down that heart. Just for spite. It's actually easier with a beam laser because like that thing is small and well, let's go shoot it. We got caustic sinks, might as well use them. Boom. Boom, we got it. Alright, hard down. We're still in the dinosaur section. I should have taken a Hydra down.
Yeah, so we saw Japan very prominently in the gameplay trailer, which is excited and brings in lots of cool new terrain, you know, foliage visuals and scenery.
They speak 8 words per minute. Who speaks 8 words per minute?
Of scenery. Yeah, it's awesome.
Let's go to Asterope. Like, go see one of the iconic stations. You know what? Actually, let's go to Titan's Daughter in Taygeta. Or actually, I don't know how you pronounce it. Maybe somebody knows here. Is it Taygeta? Taygeta? I mean, these are all the iconic Pleiades systems. Like Halcyon, Electra. Taygeta's Titan's Daughter station, though, is one of my favorite, as it's in an asteroid field, and it just looks amazing. Oh, Frontier just drags on. Yeah, I mean, I have to say the content density of Frontier Unlocked is kind of very low. But they could summarize the 1 hour thing in like, I don't know, 5 minutes.
Which I don't know what it means, but you get amazing results.
I know, right? Like,
Hot air balloons.
I think they have the biggest following in Elite Dangerous. My goal is to get more people to follow the play-by-play of Frontier Unlocked than we get on Twitch. That would be cool. Right. Since we actually talk about Elite for an hour here. I know it's an aspirational goal, and I know that's not going to happen, at least not anytime soon, but it'll be fun though.
So hot air balloon is one very prominent one. Again, a lot
What's the
more
ratio we got right now? We got 130 people here. How many are on Twitch? Let's have a look.
enclosures. You also
There's
get much
5,800 on Twitch. Yeah, I just gotta move 2,500 people. What is that? Not too big of a deal. Not too big of a deal.
yeah, that's really, really exciting.
Why are we at Alex Station? Actually, let's go to Alex Station. Anvil Pride. The station that built the Pleiades.
You know, that has created
Like 80% of the steel and titanium and aluminum and
them in your own way.
metals of any kind that were used to build out all of the Pleiades was produced by Alex MG1 Station, which is Anvil's Pride, which is
We didn't even mention
where we
parts.
kind of randomly ended up
These,
at right now. So that's where we're gonna go. I'll check it out.
attractions as well. We've got new path styles, we've got natural paths now, so you can again make the park facilities kind of look more embedded with the
Yes,
natural
it's
world.
embedded.
More organic.
More plausible, yeah.
Yeah, they're really, really beautiful. Yeah. Super, super cool. Love the stuff that we've got.
I don't know about the revenue part. Like, maybe you're right, maybe not. I kind of should read the financial statements of Frontier Developments at some point. I confess I haven't done that. I know people like Burr and the like do so. I should do so as well. I just haven't gotten to bring myself to do it. I did too much of that for work anyway. The idea of doing it also for fun, kind of low, honestly, on my fun list.
Hop over to our website now.
Right.
Speaking of pre-orders, for our digital release,
What's next?
31st of October, if you pre-order that now, you
Let's
will be
see.
able to get a hold of the Badlands set, which will be bringing iconic scenery pieces from the original Jurassic
Still
Park
talking
film
about
to your park. So get in
dinosaurs.
there and pre-order that now. So
In the
the
meanwhile,
set's
we've gone to
really, really
Anvil's
cool.
Pride. Raise the volume. See where we move on to the next.
Hello again, everybody. Awesome. So yeah, loads of stuff coming up for Jurassic World Evolution 3.
So good.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Now, we're going to be turning our attention to Planet Coaster 2.
Oh
So,
no,
yeah,
Planet Coaster
welcome
2.
back,
All right,
guys.
back to 7%
Hey.
volume you go. And back to Elite we go as well. All right, Anvil's Pride. The premier refinery in the Pleiades. Uh-oh. All right. Ouch. I forgot how low the beak of this ship is. I know I'm odd, but I'm finding it easier and easier to dock and flight assist off and then flight assist on. I just spend too much time flight assist off. Oh, Elite is 7% of the total revenue? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I should have known that, but I don't. Let's see at the commodities market. So this station produces no fewer than 1.3 million tons of steel right now, which is a lot of steel. It's also interesting how demand has gone down so significantly. Trying to decide if we should do another interceptor or not. Maybe we have time for a semi-speed run basilisk of some kind. In the meanwhile, we can turn in our Medusa bond. We just paid for 1 week of our carrier upkeep, which is nice. Ouch. You didn't see this. You totally didn't see this. Try again. Second time's a charm. Can someone explain how influence works and what's the point? What do you mean by influence? You mean influence of the factions in the system? Like this influence here? I mean, the way influence works is it basically determines how what percentage of control or how strong of a control a particular faction has on a given system. The faction that has the highest influence is the controlling faction in the system. When two factions get close in influence, or kind of cross-trade, if you want, in terms of influence on the way up and down, they get locked into a war, which then locks their influence until the war is resolved, and whoever wins the war gets a boost in influence, and whoever loses the war gets a loss in influence and goes down. And there's a whole range of, like, the whole system, this is called BGS, or Background Simulation System of Elite. It is very, very, very complicated. And a bit beyond, I think, what we can explain in the few minutes that we have before we actually turn to a Panther Clipper. But it's also significantly impaired by the colonization aspect that was introduced to the game. Maybe you know the answer. If I have a scientific outpost and Corelli orbiting the same planet, will scientific outpost create a strong list of Corelli, making it high-tech Corelli? So the answer is it should, based on the rules as explained in the patch notes. A tier 1 station, which is your scientific outpost, with a higher tier station in the same outpost being your Corelli, would convert the lower tier outpost to a supporting facility, which means that they would, at that point, create both strong and weak links. So a strong link in the local body, weak links outside of a local body. That's how it works. So the answer is yes, it should. Keep in mind, colonization is very buggy, and the thing you're asking about, which is how do multi-ports in a local body work, is one of the most buggy things of a pretty buggy implementation to begin with. So your mileage may vary. It should work that way, but I wouldn't count excessively on it working as intended right now. All right, we'll talk about influence, answer that question. Where should we go? Where should we go? Let's go to a distress call, see if we can get a double clops or something like that. Distress call is in HR 1185. Well, there's many distress calls, but this is the one we kind of tend to hang out at the most. Should also repair my hull. You're welcome. Oh, we're going through Merope. Merope is another of the Seven Sisters. Another pretty iconic system. It's a system that's generally considered pretty dark. It doesn't have a lot of light. All these planets are far from the star. Yeah, colonization is technically still in beta with no point of view and no announcement as to when it would exit beta. The reality is, I think they got most of the systems in place. Like the key feature they really needed to add, which is the undo, cancel, or deconstruct button, they have not added, nor have they mentioned that they have an intention to add. They may surprise us still and actively add it, but so far they haven't. And it's not an easy thing to implement. Like, dismantling station is not as easy as it may sound on paper. So my bet and my hunch is that they won't do it, but who knows, maybe they will. The one thing they said they were working on, and which I think is probably the last major update we'll see to Trailblazers colonization as a system in game, is how mixed economies work. They mentioned that in the Frontier Discord that it is something that they were looking into. but I don't know what, if anything, they're going to be doing about that. Also, I think we're going to see lower and lower engagement with colonization, that people just get bored of hauling things over and over and over again just to kind of paint the map a little bit. I know I've gotten bored. I know most people I know have gotten bored. We shall see. We shall see if... I think I need to set... actually, fleet carriers. My general opinion of a Corsair. My general opinion of a Corsair is that it's the best fighter in the game. That's my general opinion of a Corsair. I mean, it's definitely not, you know, the most agile medium ship, because it isn't. Where is... Hold on, I'm trying to get my bearings. Oh, we're going here. Is it because I have filtered out planets and moons? Aha, there you go, that's why. Alright, now we have our destination. What could be an exciting feature that revitalizes the game? Well, for one, the Thyroid War certainly was something that got a lot of people excited and engaged. So, continuing that thread and that narrative, in particular with regards to us taking the war to them after they took the war to us, I think would be something that's very interesting and engaging. So I would personally look forward to that. Doing something around colonization where there's actually better gameplay loops, more gameplay loops around defending your stations or fighting to acquire stations could do the trick. I think something relating to squadrons and the Vanguards update that they're working on could do it, but not what they announced and not what they've talked about so far, unfortunately. Like, just giving people squadron carriers ain't gonna really do very much. They need to create things like squadron-based missions or custom missions, or give people more of a sandboxy like tools for doing things with squadrons. That I think would create a lot of engagement, a lot of interest. Yeah, like just axle the hauling requirements for colonization, or simplify it massively. Because the other thing about colonization is not that it's just buggy, it's that it's also very, very complex. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the mega guide I wrote, but it's like 60 pages, right? Who reads 60 pages to understand how colonization works in game? I mean, who is also insane enough to write 60 pages, you could ask? That'd be a good question. Like, who would be crazy enough to do that? There's no interceptor. Oh, we have to relog. We might actually put a repair input ourselves while we're at it. Repair that 5% of the bonk that you clearly didn't see. Wow, we're 48 minutes in and still nothing about Elite. That's remarkable. I think we might beat their record of like amount of time they spent not talking about Elite. Oh, you're welcome, Jack. I'm glad it was useful. I know, right? That's the pinnacle of insanity, Alex. Like, who would create an audiobook of actually reading the 60-page guide? Although I have to say, that was something that a lot of people asked about, and I was like, sure, why not? Right. It was also a great way to quality check the guide itself. Right. Alright, I think we're good. Third place dangerous, yeah. That would be a good name for it. Alright, let's relog and see if we can spawn something here at this distress call. See what we get. We're probably gonna get the 1 in a 2,000 chances double Hydra, which we're not gonna do if we get. It would take way too long. And you get an AI voice to leverage that. Maybe, but I don't know. I already have a lot of stuff for which I use AI. and people like to hate on it, so I'm like, I don't think I should do even more AI. CQC should be, what we got there? Is that a Bazzi? I think it's a Bazzi. If it's a Bazzi, we might have to speed run it, because I think at this point they should be switching to our Panther Clipper relatively soon. Alright, let's get a scan, and let's speed run this Basilisk. Scan acquired, boom! Usually you wait until it turns around. We didn't in this case. First heart down. Let's see if we can actually get it to exert. A second one, negative. Ah, we got lightning zapped. Scream in the stream if we are getting to a Panther Clipper. Look, another good thing about this ship is like it's so freaking tanky that you can face tank this guy. To a degree. Not non-stop, but enough that you can effectively not care about. Oops. Got him. 2 hearts down. They're switching gears. We might not be able to finish this before we switch. Let's see. Caustic incoming, but we got caustic sink, so we don't particularly care. Alright, let's keep shooting. I got close range significantly and quickly. Let's get zapped. Good, this is a good thing. Exert. We're blasting this guy, but I think we're gonna run out of time. I think they're playing this little video, and then we might have to. Oh, thank you, Barrow, for your kind words. We're all out of heat sinks. We're gonna kind of just face tank this thing, but I think we're out of time. Let's see if Zach shows up. Yeah, they're switching gears. I think now we have to kind of like hear the blah blah, and then actually. Let's self-destruct and pay attention for now. Alright. Alright.
I've
Yes.
prepared earlier.
Yes.
Let's do these.
What
these
have we
quite
got, Rich?
Flash ones first. We have
Got very
a
ooh.
Razer Basilisk V3 gaming mouse.
Yeah.
Razer
Very
Basilisk.
swish.
Nice.
Even swisher than that. So we
Talking
have
about
Even
a
Swisher.
Razer Black Widow.
I mean, that's pretty.
V3
Yeah,
gaming
that's
keyboard.
pretty good. Yeah.
Very, very
Oh,
posh. If
man.
you see
I-
a square
They're
shirt of
doing
Rich
like
leaving the studio after
giveaways.
the,
I would have had
the,
time
show.
to
No, you
finish this Basilisk.
We have an Elite Dangerous beanie hat.
Beanie.
And also, we have, down here, we have an Elite Dangerous. got it
This
right
is
way
very
up,
nice.
An
Yeah.
Elite Dangerous mouse pad.
Check this out.
Look at- hang on, there we
this
go.
looks very nice.
Look at that.
Lovely. Yeah. Lovely
Try and get
stuff.
this out of the way. So, to enter, you're going to need to put a keyword, I'm going to roll this up while I do this, into the chat. And this is on Twitch only. So if you're
Yes,
not already
very
on
important.
Twitch, twitch.tv/Frontier, get over there now so you can put this in the chat.
Yeah.
And geographical restrictions do apply, and please head to frontier.co.uk/legal for all the T's and C's and stuff like that.
Yes. But
So-
what do they need to do to win? What do we need to enter?
To win this, or to enter this giveaway, you need to put !dinosaur, all lowercase, into the chat.
In the
Dinosaur.
chat.
!dinosaur, DINOSAUR, all in lowercase.
Yes.
And
Get that in.
we will leave this open for a little bit, a couple of minutes. So get that in the chat now.
Yeah,
On
it's
Twitch,
like dinosaur.
twitch.tv/frontier.
Wrong
if you want
chat,
to
David.
enter this giveaway.
Lovely stuff. But yes, whilst we are waiting for you guys to get in there and hopefully win everything there, good luck to everybody.
Oh,
we're going to be
dinosaur.
having a look at Planet Zoo because we've also got some cool stuff coming there. What's going to be going on with Planet Zoo, Rich?
Planet Zoo, it was launch
Dinosaur,
day for,
right.
for a DLC for Planet Zoo
Very
on PC
exciting.
this morning.
Yes.
The
yes, yes,
Asia
yes.
Animal Pack released earlier today
Yep.
on PC, and it brings 7 brand new animals, including the honey badger, the Japanese raccoon dog, and the black
Come on, guys.
to the
Beautiful,
game.
Lovely
And
animals.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're stunning. 100
55
brand new scenery
minutes.
pieces as well, and a new
You're gonna beat
campaign
your record.
scenario
Amazing.
Right.
where Dominic Myers is back again, determined to breathe life into a new park, or into an old park, sorry, in South Korea.
Very cool. Very
So
cool.
let's-
Loads to do there.
While you guys are entering the giveaway, !dinosaur if you haven't already, let's take a look at the trailer.
I thought there was switching very dangerous. I kind of blew up a perfectly fine Corsair to kind of get to like this in time. All right, I'm annoyed, excessively annoyed by honey badgers. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, I'm not even at my carrier. I got respawned at somebody else's carrier in the system. Alright, we have time to go back to our own carrier, or at least start the trip. Got 2 jumps in. Woo! I know, right? They kept us waiting an hour. It should be like 3,000 thoughts. Like, oh, this music with Elite Dangerous? Oh no, please, let's not.
There you go. That is the Asia Animal Pack. It's out right now on Steam. So go and grab that if you'd like. And it is going to be coming to console alongside the America's Animal Pack on the 5th of August.
Yes, we've got some
So-
lovely key art
Wow.
on here, so you can have a look at that. Beautiful.
So Planet Zoo console players, you don't have to wait all that long to get your hands on these 2 packs together. And also released today was a free update, which includes something new and free for everyone. It's the Malabar Rose Butterfly.
Oh, look at that. Beautiful.
at
Beautiful. Yep, that's coming out today.
That is
a free
available
update as
today as a free update for everybody.
Get that. Get hold of that.
Absolutely.
Lovely stuff. So we're going to be closing up the giveaway now. So no more entries, please. We're going to be announcing the winner of these great prizes shortly. If you are a winner, you will be receiving a Twitch whisper, a DM from our official Frontier account. So look out for that. But yes, we have now closed the giveaway. So yes, good luck to everybody.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck.
Okay, I think we've left them hanging long enough.
Yes,
Elite
we're running
players,
here.
commanders,
All right,
it's your
finally.
turn. So 2 unlocked to go, which is an official unit of measurement here at Frontier. We revealed the Panther Clipper Mk2, and this month we're going to give you all of the juicy details. And for this, I'm going to hand over to Zach, who sat down with Chris and Curtis earlier this week.
Oh, it's a recorded one.
Hello everybody, Zach here, brand manager on Elite Dangerous here at Frontier, and I'm joined by 2 special dev guests today to talk about everyone's favourite space game, Elite Dangerous. So would you like to introduce yourself, starting with Curtis?
Hi, I'm Curtis. I'm one of the designers on the game.
Chris?
I'm Chris, and I'm the art director on the game.
Lovely. So I think everybody knows what we're here to talk about today. We said at the end of the last show that we would talk about the Panther Clipper Mk2, which is what we're here to talk about. Chris very kindly, I believe 2 months ago now.
2 whole months since
Yes.
PitCon, and we revealed that the Panther was coming.
Yeah, very, very nicely with the teaser image that you kindly put together at
stuff.
PitCon. And then, yes, we went into Unlocked, where you talked about the concepts and the sort of design ethos, I guess, like what you were thinking for the initial concept of the ship.
Very
right?
much so, and so those concept images, obviously we had those complete at the time,
Yep.
and we've spent the last 2 months actually trying to get that into game and fulfill on those concept images, and I think we've done a pretty good job of it, as you'll see later.
Yes, I mean, this is one of the, if not the largest ship we've ever put into Elite Dangerous, at least from a player control point of view, right? And so that does actually translate to the work and effort that it is needed from your team.
Definitely, it's certainly a challenging ship to implement and to make good on all those things that we wanted to sell. The scale and the size of this ship, and we'll talk about some of that as we go through and see some of the images.
Sweet. All right. Well, talking of images, I think without further ado, while we go through our sort of discussion points for you guys, let's show the Panther Clipper Mk2 in the game for the very first time. So enjoy this chat as we go through. So I think to kick off, to bring everyone back up to speed, Curtis, what sort of ship is the Panther Clipper Mk2? For someone that's never maybe tuning in for the very first time to an Elite stream, maybe they've just picked up the game, what is the Panther Clipper Mk2?
Big trader.
It's a big trader, yes,
Big
it's
trader.
exactly that.
Some might say the biggest trader,
The biggest trader?
and
Yeah.
they would be correct.
Okay, well, we'll dive into the exact details of why
looks
that is the
good.
case later on. But Chris, I think it's fair to say this thing is going to be pretty good for those players that want to get from A to B.
I think
Cockpit view
definitely
looks
if you have some goods that you want to move around the galaxy at speed,
Yes.
this is the ship for you. So perfect if you are looking to supply goods to build a new station for colonization, for instance, and loads of other things where you've got to shift tonnage from one point in space to another.
Yeah. So I think, Curtis, knowing, when we released colonization, we saw all those cries for, we really want to trade all these materials. How hard was it knowing behind the scenes that you were working on this the whole time? You just wanted to tell everybody this is what it was.
It was so hard seeing all of the posts that were like, oh, if I just had a couple of hundred more
Yeah.
tons of haulage, I'd be good.
Even
And just being
1,000.
like, can't say anything. Can't say anything.
Well, we're nearly there.
We are nearly there. Yes.
So, okay, on trading then, how does the Panther Clipper Mk2 compare to the other traders in the game right now?
So roughly speaking, it's got about 50% more capacity than our biggest traders. So quite the improvement. Compared to what players are used to.
1,250. You got it right.
It's got a similar jump range when fully laden to those traders as well. So even
Boom.
though it's hauling a lot more, it's keeping up with the speed that you'd expect from like a Type 9 or something.
Yeah.
And it's also, compared to our dedicated traders, got a little bit more bite to it. You're carrying a lot of goods, so we wanted to make sure that you had something there to defend yourself with.
Interesting. We'll touch on that a bit later on.
I'm sure we will.
And Chris, what do you think from a visual point of view? What was the process when you had to set this ship aside, I guess, from some of the other traders in the game?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of large trading ships, and
Those engines go
in
way
the game
up.
they have been for a while. And I think one of the things that they all share, which we have also implemented with the Panther, is form follows function. So they are large, they are bulky, they don't waste space. And so that tends to have the consequence that they have a slightly boxy appearance. Some of our other ships, though, were boxy and also quite angular and quite
Fits in a
brutalist,
middle
and that was by intention.
win.
So with this one of the bits of thinking that we had was similar to the Mandalay, where we took an explorer ship, but we wanted to go for something that had a few more curves in there and a slightly more appealing look. Same lens really was used on the Panther, so that's why we went for Zorg and Peterson as a manufacturer.
Yeah.
So we could have a few more elegant lines and bits of design in there, while still maintaining that big bulky look.
Yeah.
It's just that little bit more refined in its detailing, and we think it's unique for that reason.
Yeah, and I think everyone watching right now, seeing the footage, will quite clearly be able to see that silhouette of the original Panther Clipper, right? But with, like you said, those enhancements that we've seen across all of the new ships that we've added to the game, right? But this one in particular, you can really see that the callback to the original.
I think hopefully it will map onto that and remind people who remember that ship, whilst also providing a unique and exciting new ship for those who maybe haven't played the older games.
100%. All right then. So, what would you say the USP of the ship is? I think with a lot of these new ships we're adding, we like to try and, we have a USP for each of them.
Lots
what
of
would
cargo.
you really say? You're
I
speaking
can
directly
answer
to
that
the
question.
players right now.
Anybody
What
can
is that
answer that
USP of the ship?
So there is the obvious one. It's got loads more cargo
Absolutely.
capacity. But our best traders always have the most cargo. So I'd say that probably with the Panther, the thing I like most about it anyway is I don't have to sacrifice on some of the sort of more comfort modules that I'd like to take when trading.
Okay.
If I'm trading at the moment, I might go around in a stripped down Type 9 that has no shields and no
Right.
booster and nothing, and sort of get as much cargo as I can out of it. Whereas in the Panther, if I want 1,000 tons of cargo and still want a shield and a couple of other modules, I can do it.
Okay, I mean that makes it a pretty exciting prospect
can
just
do
by
it in
itself,
Type
right?
9 too.
Chris, I mean from a visual point of view, is there anything on the ship itself? I mean, you guys are probably seeing it on the videos right now that you think sets it apart as in a sort of USB? Is it those thrusters on the side maybe, or something?
There's a couple of things. Yeah, we always try to give each ship something unique, and in this case, it's definitely the rotating and pivoting engine pods, the 4 pods.
Those are good.
That also, in this ship's case, serve as the ship's landing gear as well when it's come to rest. And that was a
Which is
callback, as
acting
we
up on
discussed
the
last
audio.
time, to the way the original ship worked in the original Elite.
Should be
So we
fine now.
wanted to preserve that. And the team have done a really nice job of engineering that animation so that it feels nice and chunky and heavy on the side of the ship. And so, yeah, I think that's probably one of the most unique things. And then in terms of challenges, in terms of making the ship unique from a construction point of view, I think we hadn't quite realised until we got it in game that you, foolishly on our part, would be walking under this thing,
Yes.
on top of this thing.
Yes.
And that's a lot of real estate that
Yeah.
we had to make sure held up from all of those angles. So we actually ended up taking the concepts, and we were finding there were places where we needed to add a little bit more
Wow.
detail on top of that.
Yeah.
And doing that in a targeted way so that it didn't feel too cluttered, and it worked from a distance, and it also worked close up. That was quite a challenge, but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, so I mean, chat, when you eventually get your hands on the
It does
Panther
look
Clipper
like a
Mk2, make
frog.
sure
You're
you
right.
get out and look around underneath, because Chris and the team spent a lot of time making sure that
And
that
find
was...
the one spot we forgot to detail.
Yeah, put that in the issue tracker and then we'll have a look. All right then, so let's move on to the stuff that some of our players really like to know about, Curtis. I know you have dreams or nightmares about these moments where we talk about hard points and things like that. So let's...
Statistics, here we go.
Here we go. Let's
We have
start
some
with
ideas
the
there.
hard points,
Let's
Curtis.
see.
How many does the ship have?
So it does have 10,
Okay,
which, if I'm remembering correctly, is the most
We
of any
know.
ship in the game.
okay.
And as for the configuration, you've got 4 small, 4 medium, and 2 large.
Exactly as leaked.
So a fair amount of firepower. You're not matching a Corvette
Okay.
or an Anaconda, but
The real question is what's the
Type
power
9
distributor, 'cause
is sort of kind
if
of
it's a
blown out the
7
water
like
by
a
that.
cutter,
Okay. And
you're
is,
not going to do much
Sorry,
with those
go
hard
No,
points.
no.
is there anything you envision a player to put on those hard points in particular, or are is it quite open to interpretation?
Well, you can put whatever you want on it. I might stay away from fixed weapons
Mm-hmm.
because it is a big ship, so
Yep.
it does have quite the wide turning circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
makes
I imagine most players put turrets on, but you could fit it with pretty much whatever you want, and
Okay.
it'll do some damage.
Yeah, Chris, how was it finding the spots for those hard points on this one? Was it easy? Was it hard?
Surprisingly,
There's a lot of space.
A little bit easier on this one,
Yeah.
partly due to those factors. The fact that it's encouraged to use turrets, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
helps it a little bit, but definitely we wanted to make sure that there were centerline weapons as well. And to do all the tests that we do usually to get those hard points in really early in the process, and then Curtis and his team will test that out and make sure that they feed back to us on what's working and what isn't working.
Yeah.
So a little bit easier just in terms of the fact that there's more space, so you're not having
Yes.
to fit them into thin wings or anything like that.
Yeah.
The bulk of it definitely helped, but it was the usual process and back and forth to refine where they actually ended up.
Perfect. All right then. So let's move on to optional internals.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
So for this one, we've got one size 1,
Mm-hmm.
one size 2, size 4, for your booster or whatever.
Yep.
2 size 5s, 3 size 6, 2 size 7, and 2 size 8.
Nice. Okay.
There's something special about.
I don't know if
those ones.
anybody got
We'll
it.
talk
put
about
that in a
those.
minute.
Yes, you may have picked up on that chat. We'll talk about those just in a second. But first, let's just go over the core internals as well.
Yep. So again,
that
it's a
matters.
big ship, so it needs a lot of power, and it needs a basically big everything.
Yes.
So size 8 power plant, same for thrusters. Size 7 FSD. Life support and sensors are only a size 5 because it's traded.
Exactly
Doesn't
as
do
leaked.
much. And then power distributor and fuel tank are also a size 7. So overall, a pretty
Exactly, it's
pretty
leaked.
beefy ship.
Yes,
is
and I think that
exactly
makes
the
sense for
statistics that were
the
leaked.
size in this one.
Yeah, and that also explains why it weighs so much.
Yes. All
Class
right,
7
so
power distributor means
the
that
Panther
it's not
Clipper
gonna
Mk2,
be
as you
as
just sort of hinted at,
impactful
is
in
actually the
combat as
first
the
ship
Anaconda, for
we've
instance,
made in
but-
Elite Dangerous to introduce a new module slot recently. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Someone can do the math
so,
in the chat about
players
the
that fly
detailed cargo
ships
capacity, because
with
now you should be able
the
to.
military
let's say.
slots will be somewhat familiar with what we've done here. And what the Panther has is it has 2 slots that are specifically designed to only take specific modules, kind of like the military slots. But in this case, instead of it being military gear, it is basically storage
Yes.
modules. So specifically, this will be cargo racks and fuel tanks. But along with this, and this is the bit that's more unique to this slot than to stuff like the military slot, is there are specific modules that will only fit in these slots. So only the Panther can have them.
Right.
And that is specifically a size 8 and a size 7 on the Panther. And there are 2 new modules, size 7 and 8, of a optimized cargo rack that has an increased capacity. So you can
Okay.
fit even more
Optimus
cargo on
cargo
the ship.
racks.
Okay, are
Interesting.
you willing to give us any numbers in terms of
So
cargo?
it's a 50% increase.
Yeah.
So you folks, I'm going to do the math.
Yeah,
But it's a
fair
50% increase on the size 7 and the size 8 standard cargo.
So
So
50
it's
cents increase of
gonna
the size 7, size
transfer
8. Okay,
a
so
lot.
someone can do the math in detail
Yes.
then.
And yeah, so a
there's
new
like,
unique module
it's
is something that
1046
we're excited
plus-
to keep advancing with these ships and seeing what we can do with them. And this is
What is it?
us again
128
testing those waters and seeing
64 plus
as
96.
you look at all the
Plus
sort of
96.
plethora of elite dangerous
So
ships we have
it's
right now, and you're trying to
96
pick out
plus-
spaces where there is opportunity
It's
to
1,100.
advance a certain area, right? And this kind of thing will help us do that, right?
Exactly. It gives us a lot more tools or a lot of like different arrows in our quiver to make ships unique going forward, so that we can really make
1,100.
sure that we're not just like producing the same ship but with a slightly
Yeah.
different skin.
Yeah. So I think on that, I guess, just
1142.
to wrap all this up into
1142 is the
one
number, if I did the
main
math
question about
correctly.
trade, I think to summarize, Curtis, what makes this ship so good at trade? It is that capacity, right, as well as
Yeah,
some other bits.
If I did the math
it all
correctly, it's
comes down
1142.
to how much it can carry and what you can do with the
Did I
ship.
do
while
math
carrying that
correctly?
amount.
A
And
class
it's,
8 is
it's well armed, it's
128,
well
right?
equipped, and it
Or is it
can
256?
haul as much as you want.
Perfect. All right. So obviously, as you mentioned earlier, this is a trade ship. Quite a lot of the time, if you are trading, you're probably going to come across
see it.
some not so polite commanders who maybe want to destroy your ship. So
Yeah.
how does the
I might
Panther
get it wrong
Clipper fare in combat at the minute?
So as I'm sure people are
Yeah, I got it
guessing
wrong.
and looking at with the
Sorry,
additional
I'll fix
hard
it.
points and everything, it fares fairly well. Again, it's probably not gonna take out many pirates, especially not the ones that are coming properly well equipped. But I would be worried going. I would not casually go up to
Sure.
a Panther Clipper and start fighting it. I would prepare for that assault.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of the point. It's a trader. It's not a combat vessel, but because of how much it's trading, it needs to be able to defend itself, and that's what we've tried to provide here.
Perfect. All right then. So, as always, our
1,248,
commanders, we tell our
that's the correct
commanders,
answer.
this is a trade ship, this is a combat ship, and then you guys will go away and do something completely different with it. So we thought
Yes,
we'd
I
give
will.
you just a tiny bit of a head start. Curtis, is there any other use cases for the ship that you can think of off the top of your head?
1,238.
So I fully expect to see this thing exploring, even though it's not supposed to.
Yeah, of course.
And I expect it to dominate conflict zones, even though it's never done that in testing. But I think the thing I would expect players to find quite useful about it is, while it's going to be a bit awkward to maneuver and fit in for doing stuff like core mining, just by virtue of the fact that it's got a lot of hard points, a lot of power, and a lot of space, I could see this being a really good laser miner for players.
With a class
Well,
7
I'm sure we'll
distro?
know within
No.
a few weeks of release exactly
it won't.
what
Oh,
else
yeah.
the Panther Clipper is great at, which is good.
Not
All right, so
any
another
better than
thing
the
in
Cutter.
the Panther Clipper Mk2 is the new bridge. I think you alluded to it last time you were on the show. Just tell us a bit, I guess, Chris, first from your point of view, what was the visual sort of process and how did you think about that as you were going about creating it?
Yeah, so it's a big ship and it needed a big bridge, basically. So we felt that it was worth making something bespoke for this one, and we really wanted to evoke the look of the older ship, where there's a strip of windows.
Yeah, washing out, that includes the new
And
module
so we
numbers.
wanted that long kind of feel and that
We've done the calculation.
view out of the front. So
1238
we paid a
is
lot of
with the new
attention
models.
to where the seating was going to be placed on the ship. So we've got the main pilot's position in the centre at the front, and then we've got the 3 other crew arrayed at the back, and there's some nice views that can be taken of the crew and nice compositions that, if you're so minded, we'll give you some good screenshots there as well. And from a visual point of view, we kind of wanted to just make it fit with the outside, so it's chunky and industrial, but not too chunky and industrial. There's a little bit of finesse to the way it's put together. But yeah, and those 4 seats, I think, will hopefully come in useful when the crew have to defend themselves.
Yeah, Curtis, do you want to expand a bit on that?
Yeah, so as you say, there's 4 seats if you include the pilot. So you've got 1 seat for the pilot, 1 seat for the gunner on all of those turrets. And this will also be our first, in the line of new ships at least, ship with a fighter bay, which
Lovely.
means you can have 2 of your fellow crew members in fighters helping you fend off those nasty pirates
Which are
after all of your
completely
glorious
useless,
cargo.
but
Lovely. So there is
fun.
basically
So
plenty of
we'll take it.
things to do for everyone on board.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the last things we like to talk about every time when we talk about these new ships is the cosmetics and some of the ways that you can make the ship your own. So as always, we've got the standard version of the ship, and Chris, we've also got the Stellar version this time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the fun parts of designing the ships was once we're done with the main concepting, there's then a process where we then start to add bits for the ship kits and design all the different paint jobs and liveries for that. So in this case, obviously there'll be a range to come over time, but day one you'll be able to choose between the standard version and then the Stellar version, which comes with a nice black and gold livery, which we think looks rather smart.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
And also a set of kit pieces, 6 I think, which you can then configure to change the shape of your hull to make the ship look the way you want it to look. And that's always a fun part of seeing which bits people choose and the different configurations that people can come up with and the different combos with the different paint jobs. So yeah, looking forward to seeing people play with that.
very nice. And we are also working on a Owners Club decal as well, which is going to be available for
so corny.
commanders, and we'll give you some more information on that at a later date. One thing I did want to touch on the, I think it's on the Stellar edition, correct me if I'm wrong, it might be on the base, the sort of, I don't know how to describe it. There is a part on the front of the ship that is very reminiscent of the original Panther Clipper, right? That has made its way.
I think the word you're looking for is prong.
Prong, okay.
So yeah, we as we've discussed, we were trying to harken back to the original design as much as possible, and the original design does have a prong that's asymmetrical. It's on one side of the ship. And we toyed with the idea of including that on the base. And I do like what it does to the ship, and it does add that little extra callback to the original one, but we decided to have that as an optional element, so you can choose whether or not you want to have that or any of the other kit pieces on your ship.
Perfect, makes sense. So obviously the Panther Clipper Mk2 is a legendary ship. It's something that you guys have wanted for a long time, and I'm happy to say that it's going to be coming into Elite Dangerous in ARC's early access on the 22nd of July, and you actually won't have to wait too much longer for the Vanguards update, which will be arriving in early August. So if you did want to find out more about the Vanguards update, make sure to check out last month's Unlocked. But until then, I'll hand back to Sam and Rich in the studio.
There you go. Very exciting, hey?
It's a big boy, isn't it?
It is very,
Good
very
grief.
big. Yeah. Lovely stuff, though. Awesome. Cool. So we've also got the winner of our giveaway. Congratulations to Commander Zim. Well done, well done, well done. Make sure to reach out and we can get you all of those cool things over to you. But yes, congratulations again. And yes, that about brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Just a reminder that if you have missed anything or you haven't seen the show, please check us out on YouTube. That we will be able to watch this later on. So yeah, thank you so much, you guys.
That is it from us, but we will be back on Wednesday the 30th of July at 6 o'clock UK time. So we will see you then.
Lovely stuff. See you guys then. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that's that. All right. Well, they did say Vanguard was releasing in early August. What do you guys think? The stats are exactly the ones that were leaked earlier, so like no surprises there. Like the one interesting thing is like these new special modules that have 50% more capacity. For those who were doing the math in the chat, I think it's one class 8 and one class 7 that has the additional 50% capacity, so that's an increased 128 plus 64 tons, so 196 tons net on top of the optional internals that the ship has. Which somebody was doing the math, and if we did the math correctly, it leads to what I posted earlier, whatever that was. 1,238 tons. Did I get that right? I think I got that right. But someone can check my math. They didn't say, but it will almost certainly be SEO optimized. Right. Yep, 1,238. I got the math right. Thank you for confirming, Akitakar. Tons, and then what did they say? They said 8 power plant, 8 drives, 7 FSD, which is interesting because it means the Class 8 FSD that is in-game will never be used for anything, because if it's not being used on this ship, it will never be used for anything. So that module has effectively been abandoned, which is interesting in my mind. And then they said 7 power distributor. That is a big deal. That is a big deal. And then they said 5 sensors and 5 something else. What was that? 5 fuel. What was the fuel tank? 7 or 5? Yeah, we'll deal with it. Fuel was 7. All right. There was a number 5, right, that I missed. 5 was sensors and 5 live support, I think. I think the other one was 5 live support. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. I mean, it's a better trader, but it's not necessarily something I'm kind of like going absolutely bonkers about. Personally, I will probably buy it, but we'll see. I think for many activities, I think the cutter will, like for mining, for instance, I think the cutter will remain probably the ship of choice, especially laser strip mining. Colonization will certainly improve. This definitely will be a colonization hauler, no question. Like capital ship, I don't know. Like, yeah, there's definitely a benefit that the ship is not rank locked. It's only arcs locked, so it's still locked. Different kind of lock, like the one that you can open with your credit card. Well, the cutter also has a class 7 power plant. Sorry, a class 7 power distributor. Compared to a... Hey, Massimiliano. Compared to a Type 10 in a gunship role, that would be an interesting one. I agree. I'm actually surprised that this is exactly the stats that were leaked. I mean, obviously we don't know about the additional 50% capacity of the special modules, but like, that was remarkably accurate. Like, if that is correct, the one thing they didn't mention, well, we'll not talk about leaks in this stream. Like we shouldn't talk about spoilers in a sort of a non-spoiler tag stream, so we're not going to do that. But the leak did have the number of utilities as well. So if you're interested in spoilers, you can check out the video about the Panther Clipper leak, and that will tell you the number of utilities if you're interested. Possibly. I mean, they have announced a bunch of things that turn out to be different. I mean, they announced the Cobra Mark V as a medium ship, and it turns out it was not. They announced a lot of things that were different from how they turned out in practice. But we shall see. No, Stan, it doesn't work that way. The internals is 1046, and then it's an additional 128 plus an additional 64 for the single Class 8 and single Class 7 that are the special ones that have 50% more capacity. So the total is 1238. At least that's how we're doing the math. We'll see, based on what we heard here. They didn't mention the ARC's price, but my guess would be it's pretty much similar to what all the other ships are. Zero intel about access to the Corsair. No idea. My hunch is somewhat after the Panther Mk2 goes into early access. Oh yeah. I mean, the thing though is, you'd be surprised, I think, at what this ship can do with a Class 7 FSD. I think the ship can jump. We shall see how well, but I think it can jump. It will be probably in the class of a cutter, even though it's significantly heavier than a cutter, is my hunch. But we shall see. Yeah, I think this is broadly where the consensus was, or where the ship was going to land. Right? It's better enough than the cutter and Type 9 to be worth the upgrade, but it's not so completely overpowered that, you know, everybody would say, why does a Type 9 and cutter even exist anymore? About its destructive potential, I don't know. We shall see. My hunch is it will not be an easy ship to use in combat. But doesn't mean that we won't use it in combat. In fact, we will use it in combat. But I'm not sure it's going to be one of the easiest ships to use in combat. Certainly has the punch, but I'm going to be highly questioning its ability to be able to turn and move, which in combat is probably something that's like more important than the ability to pack a punch. Oh yeah. Yeah, I already signed up to do the famous 1,000 tons of meta alloys do or die fight against the Hydra, which we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's either do or it's a loss of 8 billion in cargo, which will make for an entertaining live fight, I think. The good thing about having 1,238 tons means I have 238 tons of stuff to work with in terms of internals of a ship, which is nice. Still, like, good amount. Better than many would think. Better than many would think. Well, no shields. This is definitely going to be a shieldless fighter. Like, almost guaranteed for AX. This ship will not want shields. We'll need some armor, because this ship will take some hits. We'll need repairs, as this ship will take some hits. And beyond that, we shall see. But now we have the statistics, we can start theory crafting what like an AX build with 1,000 tons of cargo could look like. Yes, I do have plenty of money in my carry bass, that is true. Hopping up. All right, folks, thank you for following along the play-by-play of the Frontier Unlocked, where we spent a grand total of 5 minutes talking actually about elite stuff, and more than an hour actually hunting down medusas and basilisks. I think we've got some interesting, good information, so it was worth it. Nevertheless, I think it'll be exciting to see when the ship actually releases on July 22nd what we can do with it. So glory to mankind, Commander Mechan, over and out.